Hello and welcome to episode number 68 of GirlStreamers. GirlStreamers is a podcast bringing you the girl streamers that you know and love. GirlStreamers is a community that supports and promotes girls that stream. We are a bi-weekly podcast and we'll be introducing you to some amazing girl gamers and allow you, the viewer, to get to know some of your favorite streamers. My name is Nymphadora and I will be your host during this interview, and tonight I have a personal friend and special guest who is a YouTuber and social media influencer, RedRomina. If there is time at the end of the podcast, we will take questions, so make sure to type !podcast in the live portion. Make sure to fill out that Google Doc if you have questions, and remember, this is a live podcast, but we will be available for download on all your favorite listening sites, and the video portion will always be on YouTube. What's up, Romina? How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing just dandy. I'm so excited to be here today. It's been a long time coming.
I know. I asked you to do this like 6 months ago, I think.
I don't know.
It feels like it, man. It feels like it.
Since Dragon Con.
Yeah. Well, and we moved right after that, so things just kind of got crazy.
Right.
So, yes, thank you, finally, for being patient with me and being able to join me on the podcast. So, you are not a streamer. You are actually a YouTuber. So, give us a little rundown of what actually you do.
What don't I do? I guess I wear a lot of different hats, mainly because I have to do everything myself. But my main focus is video. So I do video stuff online and offline. So I do have a production company where I do like actual movies and things like that. But then, the fun stuff is doing stuff online where I make videos. And I'll talk about filmmaking, I'll talk about travel, I'll talk about business, and pretty much any like random thing that I can think of. Actually, I just made a video about Loot Crate. I unboxed a Loot Crate. So basically, if you like me, then you'll like my channel.
I mean, that's one way to sell it. So why did you decide to be a content creator?
It kind of just happened. So I guess, I've always liked to just make videos. Mm-hmm. So I was making videos and I was doing like kind of like vlogging type stuff before it was actually like a thing. I used to take my camera to school and like make videos like while I was at school. And just like silly stuff like that. So I think, and when YouTube came out in 2006, it was just kind of a place to be able to upload my stuff and like share it with people. But it wasn't really like a place where people were making original content for the platform.
Right. Nope. I remember that because I was in college when YouTube came out.
Yeah. So it was just like a thing to like just goof around on.
Right. There was no direction of YouTube. It was literally just to house videos at the time.
Yeah. And fun fact, so I used to actually stream. So I did 24/7 live stream on a website called Justin.tv, which eventually became Twitch.
Is what Twitch is now. I didn't realize that you used to stream on Justin. That's...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did... So, why? Wait. 24/7. Okay, why? First off, why? And exactly what were you streaming 24/7?
Because, first of all, because I didn't have a lot of friends and all of my friends were on the internet. So it was a way for me to just like hang out on the internet. So that was, and also because, I don't know, I just like the internet. I like trying new websites. Like I was on Twitter in like 2007 too. It was just like, people didn't know like what was going on with it, like where it was going or anything. And I just like being on it because I was able to hang out and talk to people from all over the world. And I guess like on Justin.tv, it was anything that I was doing. So like if I was watching a movie, then like that's what was happening. And like during that time, I was playing Minecraft.
Funny, that's how I started on Twitch, was with Minecraft.
So I would show what I was doing and stuff like that on Minecraft. Like Minecraft was a thing in my life. Like it was like I would wake up in the morning, I would play Minecraft all day, and then I would go to sleep and I would wake up the next morning and I would keep playing. That was my life for like a year.
It's my life with Grand Theft Auto roleplay right now. True story. No, I was playing Minecraft earlier today, actually. We have a server. You should join us.
No, I can, like... There's a reason I do not play anymore. I have a business to run.
Right.
Grown-up stuff. Adulting.
So how did you come up with your screen name then? Is this a screen name you've had like your entire life, or? Oh no, not at all. I mean, the first screen name I ever had online was like my name and my dog's name, and then like the number 2. That was it. But no, like, so the thing about that is that, so actually what happened was that I stopped doing YouTube for a while, and then I had another channel which I started to post like professional stuff, like the film stuff that I was doing, like reels and whatever, like boring stuff. And then I posted a couple videos that were timely, I guess, and they happened to go viral during that time. So I was like, oh, wait a second. I actually used to like making videos on the internet. What happened? So I started making videos again, but I didn't like that channel because that channel was really, the name of it was very boring because it was just meant to be like professional. Right.
And so I actually, like, during that time, I started a gaming channel, and that gaming channel was RedRomina because my gamer tag on PSN was RedRomina.
Okay. So it all does go back to gaming, huh? That's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
And so, what happened was that, so I started that channel, and then I realized that when I played games, I just wanted to play games. I didn't want to like turn on the camera and make a whole video out of it. So then I just converted that channel into my main channel. I mean, it had, like, the gaming channel lasted maybe like 3 months because like I was over it so quick. So that channel, I didn't really have, I mean, I basically started the channel that I have now at 0 because like I didn't really have like a lot of subscribers or anything like that because I wasn't really pushing out that gaming channel as much. But yeah, I just like deleted all my gaming videos and then was like, hey, I travel now.
Nice. So where are you originally from?
I am originally, well, my mom, but geographically speaking, I am from Florida, born and raised. And then I've kind of like bounced around the globe a little bit, but mainly I've been in Los Angeles, and then now I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Which is how we met. We actually met at the film festival. And became fast friends and colleagues. So you're traveling. I'm actually very curious. Like where did that come from? Like what made you decide to go into like being a travel vlog basically?
Because I get to travel for free.
Okay, all right. We kind of started talking about this right before I left because, you know, my dad was like, wait, how do you get to do this, right? So, but I wasn't able to, I want to go into details. So how do you actually get to do all of these travels? What is the behind the scenes thing to get you out there to be able to do these adventures?
Yeah, so.
Because there's a lot that you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So I actually started traveling like when I was a child. So travel was always a part of my life, and just like I was trying to figure out how I could put, you know, my filmmaking and my travel into like the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, rebranding and doing the whole RedRomina, like it all kind of just came together where it was like, oh, this is what I should be doing because I'm already traveling. I might as well be documenting like these adventures and stuff. Because I was doing that, like already had access to travel, which like I guess most people don't when they're starting because they haven't like traveled or done stuff like that. But that kind of like set up my repertoire, I guess, of like stuff of places that I've been to. And honestly, like when I first started, within like a few months, I got my first trip for free. But that was because of like the kind of, because I branded it so well and it was so niche. And like as far as like traveling, there's so much that goes into it because it's like you have to contact the right company at the right time or have like the right opportunity come
Right.
up. Because like for instance, a tour company might have 100 different tours, but maybe they aren't advertising all of them because like, oh, everybody knows about Greece, like everybody's going to go to Greece, like they don't really need to push it as much. But then maybe like this other country or this other type of tour within Greece is not getting as much attention because maybe it's like specific attractions or things like that. And that's like, you do, unless you talk to the company, you don't know that that's something that they're trying to push. And like
Oh.
sometimes like you'll contact them and you'll be like, hey, like I want to talk to you about maybe doing something with like this at this country or whatever. And then they'll be like, oh, we're not really like trying to push that country right now. And so it really depends on that. And then there's also like, even if it's not like a full travel thing, I could just like go to a place and then decide the things that I want to do there and then contact the attractions myself personally.
Yeah.
And
Do
that's
you
kind of
find it
something.
easier to do it that way, or do you find it easier
Yeah.
the other way?
um I think it's easier to do it the I think it's easier to contact the attractions myself,
Mm-hmm.
but also because I get to do something that's a little bit more tailored to the types of things, the activities that I want to do, the types of
Right.
things that I know my audience will want to watch. Um, Whereas when it's like a full package like that, then I might be promoting something that maybe my audience I know won't really be as engaging with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, at this point, so you are on I know you're on a push for 100,000
Everything.
subs. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything, right?
Mm.
So how close are you to that right now? Actually, I didn't get a chance
I
to look.
am a quarter of the way there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you still got a good bit.
Yeah. So like the idea behind that is not necessarily to actually hit the number by the end of the year, but to try to do it and
Yeah.
to experiment and to put myself out there because there's so much behind like content creation now online because of the different algorithms. And I feel like a lot of creators feel like they have to cater to certain things in order to stand out in the algorithm. And that's kind of like, that kind of, kills creativity, I feel like. And so I'm trying to like push through that and be like, hey, this is like the kind of content that I make. And if it doesn't get pushed out by the algorithm, that's okay with me, as long as I can still have like my audience that is still interested in the stuff that I'm putting out there.
Right. So, speaking of the algorithms, uh how hard do they hit you, like on YouTube and stuff? Because I know, like, I obviously am, I'm not even at 100 subscribers on YouTube because I had no idea. I floundered personally. I floundered for a very long time on what I wanted to do with my YouTube channel, and I've
Mm-hmm.
actually created a second YouTube channel now because I want um oh, thank you, Dennis. Thank you. You know that graphic that I was trying to make before the podcast? I forgot to
Yeah.
actually put it properly in the professional. I've done this before, y'all. I swear to God, I've done this before. No, thank you for letting me know, Dennis. I appreciate it. That way now you guys actually have her stuff underneath. Thank you, Dennis. So yeah, what were we talking about? Oh, the algorithms and stuff. I know that I've seen a lot of complaints with people, especially like you. I mean, people like PewDiePie and
Mm,
the Paul brothers and stuff. They don't seem to get hit, but the people like you
mm,
or me obviously got nothing, right? Like we don't.
right.
Why does it seem? Because you've been at this game way more than I have. It even hits people like Roberto Blake and Philip DeFranco and all of that stuff. Like, why do you think your level and my level gets hit way more than someone like the Paul brothers or PewDiePie? Like, is the algorithm specifically to help or to, I don't know, in your opinion, because you've been at it way longer than I have with the YouTube game.
Mm.
Like, do you think they deliberately create that algorithm to put those out more, or do you think it's just, I don't know?
No, the thing about that is that, like, for instance, if we look at PewDiePie, he's how many does he have? 60 million,
I
50
don't
million
even know at this point.
subscribers, right? But if you look at his numbers and you look at the views that he actually gets, it's like usually less than 10 million views, right? Which, if you think about it, you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. If this guy has 50 million people who follow him, then shouldn't he be getting like a lot more views on his videos?
Yeah.
Um, so does he has actually talked about it before. I've heard him talk about
I'm not
the
his biggest fan, so I tend to
I've
ignore everything he says.
I've only seen like the clip of him talking about that. I mean, this was like maybe 2 years ago when
Oh,
he was like, he just like tossed it aside and he was like, yeah, like, totally makes sense, like, that I have that many subscribers, but then I only have like this many views. Um, but that's like, I think it's just like an example of, it feels like it's not really that big of a hit because of the fact that he's, regardless, like, it's still millions of people who are watching the video.
right.
Whereas when you look at, someone who's like smaller, then that ratio just becomes really, really, really thin. And it's like, and you're like, well, it seems like we're getting hit a lot harder, but I don't think that we are. I think everybody's just getting equally hit as hard. Um,
It's just more
but
obvious because like we have less viewers.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so much that goes into it that's like not even just like the actual videos. It's like how old the channel is, like
Mm-hmm.
when was the last time that they had uploaded a video, before they started uploading again consistently. Um, and it's how long people stay on YouTube after watching your videos.
Yeah, that's. I've
So
been
there's like a
looking at
lot
a
of
lot of that
stuff.
stuff lately, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
is just how do
It
people continuously do this?
it's complicated.
It is, and it's like, yeah, people. I mean, and it's the same way with Twitch. I mean, Twitch looks at. They also look at your VODs because Twitch stores your VODs. They look at, you know, they look at the content of, okay, you have 1,000 viewers, but who are the people actually talking in your chat, right? If you have 1,000 viewers supposedly in your chat, but only 5 people are talking, there's definitely something off there, right?
Right.
Like, so there's, I don't know how they notice. I don't know how they like calculate that. I know it's like in the coding and stuff like that, but it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that I'm, doing what I'm doing now is because of the fact that, like, the way that the algorithm puts things is they want you to be very niche, and the travel community has complained a lot about this because even though you think of travel, you're like, oh, that's very niche, but there's like niches within, the travel niche, which is like, if I make a video about Africa and that's like the video that like a bunch of people subscribed to my channel from that video, then I suddenly like make videos about France, and then those videos don't get as much views because it's not about Africa. And there's like this so it makes it very difficult for like travel channels to actually grow right now, because of the fact that like if you aren't doing like one specific thing where it's like, hey, I only make videos about Canada, then it's really, really hard for you to like grow out of that thing. And the same thing happens with like games as well. It's like,
oh, definitely.
if you have a gaming channel, like if you have a gaming channel and all you do is like Call of Duty videos, then that's like, then you have a higher chance of growing than if you make, you know, videos about different types of video games.
Well, that goes into the push right now of not calling yourself a variety streamer when you're live streaming, because you know, and a lot of the coaches I know, I've heard Roberto say it, I've heard Ashley Christ, I've heard Gotha, I've heard, you know, a lot of the like coaches, right, that are out there, like find a niche, and a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to get stuck in that hole, right? Because you don't want to get stuck playing Fortnite forever, right? Like,
right.
Like nobody wants to get stuck in one game, but you do have to narrow it down to where it's not just, well, I just play whatever I feel like playing. Okay, that's great.
Right.
But if you want to grow, you have to look at it from a business standpoint, right? Like nobody, it's like, okay, that's great. So you play Minecraft once in a while. Okay, well then I don't know that I want to sub to you anymore. Or
Right.
you have one travel video that's really good, but now you're putting up videos of like how to cook a pie. Like it's right. Like
yeah, it is. I mean, it makes sense, but then at the same time, what happens there is that, so I'm not interested in people just coming to me to be a travel guru. So because I do so many other things.
Right.
And so if I suddenly, like, let's say that I write like a sci-fi novel, and like all I did was travel videos. Let's say that that's all I did. And then suddenly I'm just like, hey guys, like I made this like super awesome like post-apocalyptic novel. Like everyone's going to be like, what?
Where did that come
And then
from?
I probably won't make any sales. And then I have, you know, 500,000 people following me because they like, you know, my videos about Canada. But then I don't make a single sale because they don't care about me, which is a problem with like travel videos as well. Is like people like they just want to see like their country. Like people just want to see like, you know, if you make videos about like the Philippines, like the Filipinos are all like, yeah, Philippines. But then like but then it's like they're not interested in like you. It's like it's a very small percentage of people who are actually going to be like your loyal fan base, the ones who will follow you no matter what you do. You know, like when you publish something, when you make a workshop, when you do something that's totally different, and they're going to follow you no matter where you go. And I think like finding out how to balance all of that is what I am trying to do right now, is experimenting with all of that, because I'm not a person who just has like one interest, you know?
Right. And no, but I don't think anybody really does. And I think that's, you know, that actually, to go back to the algorithm, that can actually hurt you. Because the algorithm is just so difficult to figure out, because they change it on, it's different for everything, from Instagram, from Twitter, from YouTube, from Twitch to Mixer, you know, wherever you put your content out. And so you have to keep up with, well, okay, I have this stuff over here on Patreon. I have this stuff over here on Instagram. Can I just cross-platform this, or do I have to specialize each thing? And I think it depends, like, because you just went through a change on your Instagram. Like, you just completely
obliterated it.
Just destroyed it.
Yeah, and the reason behind that is also because I just got kind of tired of posting, like, the perfect shot. It's just not very sustainable in the long run. And I don't know. I kind of wanted to try something different, and I want what I'm putting out on Instagram to stand out more and not be, the same as what everyone else is posting. As far as like travel and, photography is concerned, because like there is a very like clear copycat style that a lot of people do, and it works. But I guess I like taking the hard road.
So, actually, I have a question about that. What do you think about the copycat stuff? Like, I find it an interesting. I know, like, and I don't want to say, like, where's the difference between format and copycat?
Right.
Because, I mean, look at BuzzFeed, look at Try Guys, all of that stuff, and look at all of these other things that are doing very similar to what they do and how they do their stuff, right?
Right.
So, where do you think is the line of copycat versus standard operating procedure at this point? Because I do think we have kind of created a template on like, especially with the thumbnails. Like, I didn't realize the thumbnails for Twitch or for YouTube was a thing until I started being like hardcore. Okay, we've got to get our YouTube going again. We've got to get like, I want to get my YouTube up and running and be proper. And it's like, oh, wait a second. That's a what?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to say because I feel like in imitation you get to find your creativity sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's very much like, I mean, if you just look at Wes Anderson, like a lot of his styles, like he'll get from European cinema and just specific directors that he actually was inspired by. But obviously, like you wouldn't look at Wes Anderson and be like, oh well, he's not original, or he's a copycat. And that goes like throughout all of cinema. And I think,
right. I mean, it was built upon like taking something someone else made and just
right,
adding to it or improving it. I mean, I know a lot of people hate remakes, and I'm like, but this has been a thing in the film industry since its beginning. Like, so remakes don't bother me as much, but I understand the frustration. However, if you get into that whole thing, like, there's only like so many major stories, right? And everybody's telling the same 5 stories just in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what content creation is, right? Like, we're all telling our stories, but in a different way. And it's how you want that story told to you.
Right.
Sorry, I'm reading chat.
Hello, chat.
Yeah, chat. We do have if you have questions for Romina and want to ask her questions, please feel free to fill out our podcast questionnaire, the Google format. She is a YouTube content creator. She doesn't stream on Twitch, but she does have a lot of awesome videos on YouTube, and her content is really, really good. And so, do you think it's smarter to have multiple channels or doing everything on one?
It's probably smarter to have multiple channels. But I am not about doing things the smart way sometimes. I also think, I mean, I guess if you set something up like a show, then it can work, like having a variety show.
Yeah.
Where you discuss different things every single episode.
Right.
But
I'm sorry about the dogs, guys.
Good, they're good boys. But I don't. But to me, that kind of format, like, it just seems boring to me to like do the same thing every time, like what Philip DeFranco does. Like, I just can't. I don't think I could do that.
I think he is actually. I can't. I'm not. I don't think. I know for a fact because I was interviewed by him. Didn't get the job, but they are branching out into other things because he's overextending himself doing the Philip DeFranco show every single day. So they're actually bringing on a bigger team because it has exploded. I mean, his content has gotten huge, and I mean, I'm an avid watcher. I like his content. So they're branching out a lot into other things, but like that particular YouTube channel will stay the same, and their other content is going to be on their website. Because I mean, he gets hit hard on YouTube. His stuff gets demonetized a lot, and it's just because he's just telling the news,
right?
And I'm not a fan of that aspect of YouTube when it comes to stuff like that. Like, if you're just telling, if it's a news show, why are they being demonetized, right? Like, it is, that doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me about YouTube.
But we continue putting content on it anyway.
Because there just aren't, like, there've been other platforms. I mean, like, when VidMe came out, I was totally on top of that, and that was amazing. I mean, in my short time being on VidMe and creating content on VidMe, I managed to make more money than I had made during my whole time that I had been on YouTube with this specific channel. So, and I was on VidMe for like maybe a year or something. It didn't even like make it to the year because they shut down. But
Jesus,
there's no, like, it's so hard to compete with Google.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So it's like, okay, like, I can't really, it's not, I'm not like rolling in the riches because of AdSense. But I also can't be like, oh, well, I don't want the extra few $100 that YouTube might send me every month just for making the stupid videos. Like, that's like, I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me,
Right.
Right. But it is like, as far as like for people who are trying to do a career and people who are trying to, get things started, it is kind of discouraging because then you have to think outside of the box about how you're going to do it. And then the thing is that like everybody's thinking outside of the box. So
at least everybody's trying to anyway.
Yeah. And so like if everybody's like, oh, you know what? Like, I should contact like this one like watch company and pitch them my idea to do this super awesome creative video for a few $100. Like, I think I totally have a chance. And then what they don't know is that 1,000 other YouTubers came up with the same exact idea and also pitched the same watch company. Yeah. So it's like, okay, everybody's like trying, and brands have the budget for it, but they also can't do that with every single person that reaches out to them. So then you get stuck with like, well, we can't pay you for this, but we can send you a free watch. And you're like, okay, well, I guess, whatever.
Watch ain't gonna keep a roof over my head. Thanks, guys.
Exactly, yeah.
So, on that subject, actually, so welcome to this podcast. There's, like, no direction on this podcast. Like, this is just a conversation, guys. It's kind of like a fireside discussion. Because Romina and I, we've never worked together, but we've done a lot of stuff together, film-wise. So, like, I should say in an official capacity. We've never worked together. So... What are you laughing about?
Laughing at you.
I'm trying to be official, okay? Like, so yeah, this is. It's like,
very official. Yeah, it's great.
It's official. I'm a professional. I've done this before.
Yeah.
By the way, my chat's hitting on you.
Okay. Hi, chat.
I only hang out with hot people, y'all.
I'm not looking at the chat because you told me not to.
Yeah, I know. I did. It's a good thing you're not looking at chat. I'm going to have to stop looking at chat now. You moved. I got to adjust your video. No, you're fine. Don't move anymore. Continue drinking your tea. Okay, so what were we talking about? God.
I said something about free things, and then you were
Oh,
like, "Oh,
sponsorships is what I wanted to ask you about. So I know I am terrible at like I don't know how to do sponsorships at all
mm-hmm.
personally. Like I
Yeah,
feel so weird and so uncomfortable going to people and saying, "Hey, I'm a content creator. I do this thing. I want to promote what you do. Uh will you pay me to do this?" Right? Like how do you
yeah,
have that conversation? That is the for me, I'm great at like going up. I mean, that's how we met. Like I'm great at face to face having conversations with people. Like that's you are my friend because you got to actually be a part of my experience networking with people, right?
mm-hmm.
Like that's how we became friends. But uh I'm good at that part. But everything else when it comes to marketing and that
Mm.
kind of stuff, I'm garbage at. I'm so bad at it.
Mm.
So how do you do your like sponsorship stuff and have those phone calls and those conversations?
Yeah. Um, it's always awkward. It's always gonna be awkward.
Thanks. That's so promising.
I mean, there's different ways to go about it. I mean, obviously, you can just reach out to them personally, especially if you feel like it's something that you're really passionate about. And I think that that when you show that you're passionate about a brand, they get really excited about that, and they're pretty willing to work with you on anything. But if it's awkward for you, and if you feel like it's not something that you can do, you can always create an alias and then just contact them through this alias and be like, hey, I represent this super awesome streamer and
Have you
she
done
wants
that
to work.
before?
Yeah, because it works.
What? So you pretended to be your own agent
Yeah,
essentially?
yeah,
What? Oh my
yeah,
god, that
it
is
works.
fantastic.
And there's also, I mean, obviously you can get like a real agent if you want to. But that's like harder to do because there just aren't that many people who are representing like digital media people.
Well,
Um,
there's no real thing there, right? Yet. I mean, obviously it's coming, but like my husband, who is an attorney, knows, a little bit on entertainment law just because I've had to have him do work for me. But as far as like the digital realm, there's nothing still really for the digital world, and I am moving my hands a lot. Oh my god.
um, no, I mean there kind of is now. I mean, I know of people who have been managers for top content creators for like a decade now. Just because they've been with like OG people from the beginning and like they just have good sponsorships and things like that. So it's like it's
Jesus.
it's sustainable for them because these contracts. I mean, it's crazy. Like these contracts for like one photo on Instagram, it could be like 2 grand. Like drop $2,000 just for one photo on Instagram. That's like on the low end. So
Holy cow.
so if you think about that, and if you represent, maybe 5 people and they all have, maybe like 500,000 subscribers or followers and more, like you
Jesus.
could be charging like $5,000
Yeah.
for like a single photo on Instagram. And if you charge like 10%, 15% of that, it starts to add up every month.
Do people know that this is an opportunity? Is it a matter of people just don't know that it's available as an option to get an agent? Like, because one of the things that I have noticed being a community manager for Girl Streamers is, oh, wow, my dogs are really loud today. I'm sorry, guys. Is we
They
there?
have a voice too.
I want to be heard. So what we have is we have a lot of people starting out, doing this like, hey, I want to do this. I've never done this before.
Mm.
And they are very young, they're very vulnerable, and they get into situations, if someone contacts you on Instagram, it's always going to be a scam, guys. Just
Yeah.
it's a scam. Don't ever respond to someone on Instagram trying to get your attention. Um But so do you think it's a matter of there's just not enough education out there about being a content creator as far as the sponsorship and that kind of stuff goes?
Yeah. There's definitely, I mean, definitely they don't, it's not, well, first of all, there's just not a lot of representation for content creators. So it's very limited. It's like, it's only for like top tier talent.
Right.
And then, you know, like the big agencies like CAA and like William Morris, like they jumped into that game like real quick, like
Right.
5 years ago. And so like they snagged like a bunch of like the top content creators. So then it's like, then there's not really a lot of people who are in the in between for like people who have less than 1 million followers.
Right.
Um,
Because it's
and
all a
for,
numbers game.
yeah. And then for those people, and it's like, if for those people, there's just not, like, if you look up like agencies for, you know, YouTubers, it's like, there's not like a directory of them. Like, it's not like you can pop, you have like on, like when you pop onto like IMDb Pro and you can see like thousands of agents for, you know, actors, directors, and writers.
Yep.
But there isn't like a directory like that for people who want to represent YouTubers or you know, Instagrammers or live streamers. It's like that doesn't
That's
really
actually
exist.
a really valid thing. That would be something that I think would be really, really useful.
Yeah.
I
But
could
then
totally
we also
see
have
that.
to have people who can also represent this talent,
Right.
which a lot of people don't jump into it because it's a lot of work. I mean, we have to do it ourselves, and it's a lot of work to
Yeah.
like sit there, and you have to send, you know, like 20-30 pitches to maybe get like one brand to reach out to you, and then you have to like know these brands. So for me, like, I don't know brands. I'm you know, I'm lucky that I know the difference between like different sodas. Like, I just you know, because I just, it's not something that I've ever paid attention to. I've never been one of those people that has like an allegiance to like, you know, a specific department store. I'm not like,
Right.
you know, it's so to me, I can't think off the top of my head like, ooh, I should reach out to, like, I can like list these 10 brands that I should reach out to. And then it's something that just kind of has to come to me, where like, for instance, I found a company through Instagram ads, a company of like chargers, like portable chargers that are eco-friendly, so they're made out of like plant-based plastic.
Oh,
um
nice.
and so I reached out to them because their website was broken, and then like they sent me like a free charger. so
Nice.
so it's like, so that's like one way that I would find out that that company exists, is like through Instagram ads, or like, you know, a friend telling me about them.
Yeah.
But like another like just randomly, like I wouldn't know that that company exists because they're a small company. Like it's not like Target or, you know, Best Buy, where it's like you just know those, they're not household names.
Right.
But there's so many brands like that that will give you like either a free product or will pay, you know, $100 to make a video. Like, those companies exist. It's just a matter of like doing the work to find them.
Right.
And that's where, like, you know, someone who represents like these types of people, they would have to do that kind of work, and it's a lot of work, for not knowing if it's going to end up anywhere. Whereas
Right.
if they have someone who's got like 1 million followers, the brands come to you, so they don't really have to do much work as aside from, you know, the logistics of, here's a contract, here's what she charges, and here's what she'll deliver, and then that's it, and I get 10%. You know, it's like the middleman to like negotiate it, but they don't have to like hustle and like look for brands and try to figure out how, you know, the brand and the influencer can work together. Like, that's like it's a lot of work, and so that's why there aren't that many people who are representing content creators that are at that level,
Right.
because the
Right.
brands won't reach out to them.
Um, as a, I don't want to say smaller, I hate saying smaller content creator. As a content creator who doesn't put out numbers like, you know, the bigger people, do you find it more stressful because you're trying to compete with them, or do you feel like you're even competing with them?
No, I don't feel like I'm competing with anyone. I'm always just doing my own thing. um but I guess that's just how I am in general with like everything. I've never really felt that way, even like when I go to auditions and stuff like that, and I end up going into a room with like 20 other girls who look exactly like me. I'm like, I don't really care because to me, it's just like it, on the surface, we might seem like we're similar, but each one of us is very different, and each one of us has something very different to bring to the table,
Right.
and or not bring to the table. So there, so I always feel like if it's the right thing, if it's the right fit, then it's gonna happen. And the best thing that I can do is just put my best foot out there and just like, just do the work, and what's going to happen is going to happen because I'm putting in the work, and if it's right, it's going to be right. Um, so I'm not really too worried about like competing with other people. And then, and also because of the fact that like I've been doing it for so long, I do have friends who are very successful at this. And then I also have friends who are like OG content creators who just have been doing this for like over a decade now. And it's like, and they don't know any other job.
Yeah.
So to and I just like I can see like I'm just lucky because I have access to that information, so I can see, get different perspectives of like where people came from and where they started. And there's so many different factors that go into it. Sometimes it's just like it's just luck. It's just being at the right place at the right time, starting off on YouTube when there was only like 10,000 people. Or
It's so weird to think YouTube is that old. It still feels
yeah,
like it hasn't. On one hand, it feels like it hasn't been around that long, and on the other, it feels like it's been around forever.
yeah.
It's so weird. It's
Well,
such
also
a weird
because like
concept.
YouTube has changed so much since it started. I think that
Oh,
also
definitely.
contributes to it because like when it first started, it was such a different website. Like just even like aesthetically speaking, it was very different. But also like the community and the way people interacted and engaged with content was so different. Like the fact that we had like video responses,
Oh
like
God, yeah, that's right. I
just
forgot about that.
responding to people through video instead of like a comment. I wish they would have that because that was always so cool to be able to like actually see people responding.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's such a different website. So it's like the YouTube that we know now hasn't been around for long enough.
It really hasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, all of them have changed so much in since they're just baby days, and I
Except for
think
Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, well, I mean, it's changed, but
It changed the design like last year,
and
but
it
it's
added
basically the
140
same.
extra characters.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
That's
basically
actually a
it.
very interesting thought. Like, for it to be the most active, it's the one that's changed the least,
Hmm.
which is a which is interesting. It's very interesting. So, when speaking of like Twitter and all of that stuff, like social media stuff, how do you put your stuff out there? Like, how do you brand yourself? Like, when you are, because branding is important as a content creator, right? Like, you
Hmm.
want people to see your content, and you're on both. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter. How do you? Because I know in one of your videos, because I watch her content, um, one of your videos you were like you were talking about how you organize your stuff. Like, I watched this video because I wanted to organize myself a bit more, so I watched yours and a couple of other people's, and it helped. So I wanted to go into detail a little bit about your organization and how you do that, because when it comes to doing Twitter and stuff like that, like Twitter needs to be daily, right? Or but
Hmm.
you don't do your stuff daily.
Hmm.
You check your emails, what would you say, once a week or once every
Like
couple of
yeah,
days?
yeah, like every couple days.
Yeah, so how, but yeah, I still see your content
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Part of it is because yes, we're friends, so I make sure I see certain content on certain areas. But
Right.
the other thing is, like, I see, like, all of these, like, obviously it's being seen, even though you are not putting it out there every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you figure out that balance for yourself, and what is your process?
I think, well, part of it is because I don't think that I have a very addictive personality aside from, Minecraft.
I can give you the server information after the
Don't
podcast.
you you're literally like handing me the needle. Like you need to stop.
You should join us on Grand Theft Auto Roleplay. I think
Oh
you
my
would enjoy it.
god. No. No. If you want to see me just like crumble my entire career.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I
But
don't
no,
want to
like
see
I
that.
guess my thing about that is that like people do have the addiction to social media is a very real thing for some people, like
Mm-hmm.
very real, like to the point where they like sweat like if they don't like look at their phones or their devices. So it's a real addiction for some people. But for me, like I feel like I can easily switch it off. I think it's because of the fact that um, I've I've convinced myself that I don't need to be available 24/7. I've also convinced myself that I don't need to have all this information coming at me all the time. And I like to practice, like have, let my brain think,
Yeah.
just be quiet. And just, it, so I think that Twitter is probably the one platform that I use almost on a daily basis. And if it's not like creating content on Twitter, it's interacting with people because Twitter is just like a cool place to hang out with people and just talk to people. Um, but yeah, and as far as like putting content out there, I do schedule a lot of stuff. So I'll use like Buffer and things like that to schedule my content. So if I know that I'm going to be gone somewhere, or like if I get inspired and suddenly come up with like 1,000 ideas of like stuff that I want to post on Twitter, like I don't want to post all of those things at the same time, so I'll just add them to Buffer, and
Okay.
then they'll just like tweet out whenever they're scheduled to. Um, so it
Yeah,
kind of
because
helps.
we've started using TweetDeck for Girl Streamers because
Hmm.
we have a team to do it, so it's a bit easier to just add people to the team to be able to set it up. And because like I scheduled the podcast tweets, and that kind of stuff is
Uh-oh, they're getting in trouble.
okay. All right, my husband is yelling at my dogs right now. Welcome to my podcast today, guys. It's we're real professional here.
With
Um,
special guests, Red Romina and dogs.
yeah. So anyway, so you tend to utilize the scheduling system for Twitter.
Yeah, and Instagram.
Does Buffer do Instagram as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you pay, is that one of the ones that you have to pay for though, or is that one of the free ones?
I don't know. Well, I think Buffer has a free thing, but I've been paying for Buffer for years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of the things I've found for Instagram to post, you have to pay. For some reason, there's a lot of easy stuff to set up for Instagram or for Twitter, but for Instagram, you tend to have to pay. And I imagine because it's Instagram is picture related, not word
Yeah.
related. So there's a lot more filing and memory and all of that stuff that has to be put through or whatever.
I have no idea because since I've just been paying for Buffer, because for Buffer it was free for like I don't know X amount of accounts, but I
Mm,
like had many more accounts that I wanted to do that I wanted to add to Buffer.
gotcha.
And those so like I've just been paying for Buffer for I don't know like 5 years. Who knows?
Wow,
All the
it's been
money
around
is,
that long?
I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think so. Let's find out.
Yeah, I have recently taken up actually doing research on social media and trying to get better with it. So,
So Buffer's initial release was November 30th, 2010, 8 years ago.
holy crap. Wow. I
Yeah.
still think the 90s was 10 years ago. So, that tells you how old I am.
Yeah. I mean, I keep seeing, like I hate it. Like, oh, The Matrix is like X years old today, or like Toy Story came out like, 50 years ago. Like those posts, like I just read them and I'm just like, why?
I know, and it's really funny because you're the same age as me, and yet I swear to God, every time I look at your face, I think you're 22. I'm like, how do you have all this knowledge? You haven't been alive that long. Oh, wait, you're the same age as me.
Oh,
Never
wait, I'm an old fart.
How do you have all this knowledge and I don't? I don't like it.
Why do you have so much experience?
Why? I don't like it. Teach me your ways. I want to be smart.
I want to be smart too,
Oh.
to be honest.
Oh my God. This podcast is going downhill real fast.
Wow. Excuse you. Excuse me. I am providing
Quality
top
content.
quality content here. This is
Quality
100.
content.
Insert the 100 emoji.
Okay. What is reject, not hashtag reject 9 to 5?
That is a movement that I'm starting to encourage people to find out what they're passionate about, and figure out how to make a living doing that. So specifically, like I don't want people to just like go out and like quit their corporate 9 to 5 jobs. Um, it's more so to kind of inspire society and inspire people to think differently about how they enter the workforce. So instead of focusing on,
That's just
well,
a
I just need to,
millennial way of looking at things.
yes, because I'm 22.
No.
It's more like there's so many more opportunities now, and there are going to be even more opportunities as the internet continues to grow and becomes a global community.
Definitely.
That there's going to be other jobs within 10 years that like we haven't even thought of. And
we'll probably have a person who keeps up with the directory of agents for YouTubers, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because somebody's gonna have to be that person.
Right. And maybe they're just really passionate about coding, directory websites.
Right? Like you don't.
Yeah. And to me it's like, and it's not dismissing like any kind of job whatsoever, because some people are just like, well, I just want to have like a secure job, and like if I can just like sit in front of a computer and like organize people's paperwork, like I'm cool with that. I actually like to organize stuff, so I'm just going to be a receptionist. Like that, it's not, it's not like here nor there. And it's like, well, if that's like that, if that is what your passion, if that was that makes you happy on a daily basis, then like that's what you should go for.
Right.
And not feel like you just have to get a job just because like that's what's going to pay the bills, because there's like a lot of opportunities out there, and I think you need to just look for them. And obviously there's like, there's obviously like a sense of privilege that like comes with that, and like having access to those opportunities. But I think it's establishing that mindset and inspiring people to think about it, and create those opportunities. Maybe they're not fortunate enough to create it for themselves, but they can create it for their children.
Yeah. So on that subject, what when you are having those conversations with people, and I'll just give you a situation that comes across my plate all the time as a content creator. You've met my husband. You
Mm-hmm.
know he's almost 2 decades older than me. Well, his friends are also that age, right?
Mm.
So some of them totally understand it because they're still gamers and they ingest their content, that way, right? Some of them are cool like him. Some of them, it's a tough discussion and I'm tired of having it, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's just so much judgment and it's like, okay, hold up. Like, I want to be like, hold up. You have all these things, right? Like that you get to do on a right, like just there's so much that surrounds this whole situation, and I don't want to be like I'm gonna call this person out on podcast because no, they're a lovely person, they're lovely people, but they're so stuck in that you have to have a 9 to 5 job, right?
Mm.
And I'm because they have to have that security, and I'm like, you know what? I was not rich growing up. My dad didn't keep a job. I'm kind of used to roughing it, right?
Mm.
Like, if I have to eat ramen for a couple of months, I have to eat ramen for a couple of months. Like I'm used
Yeah.
to that, right? And I'm very aware that I am very lucky that I have a husband who provides for us. He doesn't. I mean, we don't. We're not rich. We don't make money. Like we honestly are struggling sometimes financially,
Mm.
right? But I have a husband who is able to keep a roof over our head. So it does give me that luxury to be able to pursue this.
Right.
But even without that, I would still be pursuing it. I'd
Right.
just be working and like working here at this shitty job and still pursuing it, right? So
Mm.
when you get into those discussions, because I know you do, we all do, how do you actually address it? Like, how do you have those discussions and explain things like reject 9 to 5 in a way in which they can understand it's not that what you do is like I don't like it's not that what you do and how you live your life is wrong, it's just not right for me.
Mm.
Like without them getting all like I just want to know like how those conversations go for you, like when you're explaining that.
It's kind of difficult when you're dealing with people who are stuck in the past, because
I
it's
mean, that's fair.
it's not even like an age difference. It's having the foresight to be able to see what the future could look like, um, and I think that, I mean, it's challenging. Like sometimes I have to just be like, oh well, like it works for me, so and it's not like I'm expecting other people to change.
Right.
And it's, to me, like the idea behind it um is to change the future for the next generation. And it's not so much like it has to change right now, because it's something that will take time. uh and giving, like, the technology that's available, and as it becomes available, like in my mind, I see like Minority Report, like everybody just like if I want to go somewhere, a car just appears like in front of my house and and I don't need to rate anybody, like it just, like it just takes me places. That's the future that I see, but it's not something that will probably happen like too soon, unless Elon Musk like hurries up with his robo taxis. But the
Elon Musk, that's a character there. Let's just I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
Well, here's the thing, like in so my one of the things that I tell people is that I just like to tell stories that influence people to make an impact in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's like if I can inspire young people to eventually become, the next Elon Musk, or to become Bill Gates, and to, revolutionize the way that we travel, or the way that we use technology on a daily basis, then I've done the job that I want to do.
Yeah.
And I may not be able to program, robo taxis, but if I tell a story like Minority Report, that can inspire, someone like Elon Musk to make robo taxis, then that's my job.
I think that perspective is very different from like our parents' generation on how things play out, right?
Yeah.
And I find that I don't want to say universal, but almost universal, because there was a study that came out, and I think we're considered millennials, even though we're kind of like right there on the cusp of it.
Yeah.
But millennials, there was an article that I read. It was quite a few months ago, but the reason why the job market is so different and so like not quite as stable is because it alluded to the fact that millennials have that mindset. They want jobs that have a purpose, right? Like because
Right.
they want to they want to do something with their lives, and it's such and I that's why I do what I do, especially here for GirlStreamers, right? Like that's the whole reason why I do this for GirlStreamers, why I wanted to do film, why I'm in the entertainment industry, because I want to produce content for people. Like I want to make, the world better essentially with the things that I put out. And it's such it seems to be almost a universal concept amongst our generation and younger generations versus older generations. And so I just making that statement, I just found that very interesting that you said that, because I also feel the same way, because I don't want to do a job just because it pays my bills. Like, what's the point in life?
Right.
For me, like what's my point in life if I'm not enjoying it and making it better for other people? Because I'm gonna die someday. Like it's inevitable. Right. We're all going to die. Get used to that concept. When you're born, you start dying. But you do.
It is. I know. I just wasn't expecting you to word it that way. It's great.
So,
when we're born, we start dying.
Why? What is so? When we are dead and gone, like
right.
Nobody's gonna give a crap. So what did you leave? Yeah. Right? Like, why can't? Why? Because to be quite honest, things can get kind of shitty. Things are kind of shitty right now, and that's a result of our parents' generation. So what I'm going through, I don't want the next generation to have to go through that. Right. I want it to be better. Yeah. So I just find that such a cool thing that so many of us share that ideal. And I think because of that, we've made a lot of waves and a lot of changes because we've had that. I mean, look at all of we're basically going through another civil rights thing right now politically in America, and not to get political, but I mean we're in political turmoil right now, and a lot of it is because we're tired of being quiet and not making a change. Right. So you have to be vocal about that kind of stuff. So,
and I think also because of like social media and the internet, we just have people have access to a communication vehicle, so they're able to voice their opinions more easily than ever before. So we're actually hearing people, because I mean, look at like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh my God.
Like, when have you ever heard of a big blockbuster Hollywood film changing the character design of one of their main characters? Yeah. Based on opinion before the movie even comes out.
Well, let's be real. Sonic looks so weird.
Okay? I mean, no, I mean, I am on the same page.
But yeah, that is so. I've seen a theory on that actually. So, one guy's theory is they put out the crappy trailer version of Sonic, so to kind of like it was a weird marketing thing. And I find this it's crazy, and I saw this theory before it happened, and then it happened, which is why I'm like, maybe the guy was right, because the guy was like, here's what I think's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but wouldn't it be great if they put this out just to cause a stir, and then they could come back and be like, okay, we heard you guys. We hear you. We're going to change what it looks like. I kid you not. Like, the next week, this
my
happens.
mind.
I know
like,
your mind.
It's like blowing up right now.
I saw this, and like it was just scrolling through imagers when I saw it too, because he created a side-by-side artwork of it. He was like, look, this is what it could look like if we were trying to go with what he looks like in the cartoons.
Right.
And then he proceeded to tell his theory, and I was like, that would be crazy. A week later, I was like, that guy was 100% right on this shit. So, yeah, I think it was meant to be. I think they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose.
Well, now I think they did it on purpose.
Right? I know how you are with conspiracies. So
that is like, you're killing me right now.
I wish I had screenshot it, to be quite honest, so that I could, but I was like, oh, he's crazy.
Yeah.
And then it happened. I'm like, he's not so crazy. So on that note, then, what do you think of like communities like GirlStreamers and other things such as that that exist? Because I know that there are, I'm sure there's communities that exist specifically for YouTube people as well, but I'm not as heavy in YouTube as I am for live broadcasting, but I'm getting there. But just communities in general, especially for marginalized people, do you find that they help on that, whole making the world a better place, and just getting that better content, quality content out and stuff like that?
I think it's super important. To me, it's so I know specific videos that will get a lot of views, just based off of like SEO and just things that people are looking for, and like what's a trending topic and things like that.
Right.
But in the long run, that is just like a way to get quick views. It's not a way to build a community that is passionate about a specific interest. And to me, that is more interesting, because it's more sustainable. And being a part of a community helps me to see directly the kind of results that my actions are creating. So I'm able to directly see how I am affecting people with the content that I make. But then also it gives me access to other content creators that I might want to work with in the future.
Yeah.
And the thing about community is that, if you do it right, it's not just about, you, it's not just about one thing. It's a collective of people who have so many different passions and interests, and they're all working together and helping each other.
Yeah.
So when you get the community, when you do it right, like, it feels really good. And it's definitely, like, for me, it's like the number one thing that's like so important to me. I even have a page on my website, which is redromina.com/communities. And I've created different communities for people to be able to connect with each other. So not necessarily just like, it's not about me. It's not about connecting with me. It's about connecting with other people who are like-minded. And that's something it's worth working towards.
I just pulled it up and I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. Holy cow, that's pretty dope. It's been a while since I've been to your actual website, actually. Like 2 years, to be quite honest. That was I directly talked to you. Why do I need to go to your website? Like,
I don't know.
Also, your website looks really, really nice. We're gonna have to talk, because I like the way your website's set up.
Thank you.
Anyway, moving on from the jealous website. We have quite a few questions, actually.
All right.
We've got a few questions, and this has been an awesome conversation, and I'm glad. Although someone made a comment in chat, and I actually kind of want to circle back to that really quick. It's not an official question, but I'm circling back to it anyway. So we were talking about the scams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Dragon Wolf mentioned, people, it's getting to a point where people are creating content known as deep fakes, false articles, or videos. So I want to know what your opinion is, like, on that whole thing, because wasn't there an announcement that Facebook is about to start curbing that kind of content to keep, because I mean it does cause an issue because people don't actually do research. So
Right.
it is they're putting out this awful, just absolute fake news, and people are taking it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think YouTube should do something about that?
Yes, I do. Um, it's the thing is too. I feel like there should be some kind of like education. There's no. It's just such a like the internet is such. It's a wild west right now. So for
That's a
me, like
perfect analogy, actually. It
I
really is.
spent I spent so much time on the internet um before like social media like really hit, like even before MySpace was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like living on the internet, like I knew about trolls, and like this was like my life. This is like where I grew up. This was my culture. And so to to me, like I know that I can't take what everybody says seriously on the internet because someone could be making a joke, they could be trolling, they could just be a bot. Like there's so many different things. But I know that because of the fact that I have like this education in the culture of like how the internet works. But we're in a very interesting time right now where we have the people, the generation that's like you and me that grew up without, with limited technology and
Yeah.
access to internet, and then suddenly having access to internet pre social media.
Yeah.
And then we have the generation of people who is everybody that's like spans through like all different generations, which is like your mom, your grandma, your daughter, like your granddaughter, all of those people who like suddenly joined the internet because of social media.
Yeah.
So then we have like the next generation, which is the people who the kids who are like teens now, who basically were born with social media.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's like different education and different cultures that are all mixed up into this one like pool of just like what, like you and I, like we see a meme and we know like, oh, that's supposed to be funny, but somebody sees it and they might take it as like, oh, like that's like an insult, or that's like making fun of like something, or that's like real. Like it's there's
Yeah.
this like, what does that mean? Like for instance, a good example is like I'll send my dad gifts, and he thinks that they're fun, like he gets them, but he doesn't really get them unless they're things that he's seen before. Like they have to be like like if it's like a face, like if it's like a gif of like Leonardo DiCaprio, like he's like, oh, like it's Leonardo DiCaprio like crying or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't understand that it's part of the conversation and that you can literally have a conversation with only gifs, because it's
Which is
about
some of my favorite way to talk. I'm not even
right.
gonna lie. Like, I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna lie.
So it's that's like it's the culture of like not knowing what those things mean. And like, my mom will see stuff all the time on the internet where it's like she'll take it very seriously, or she'll think that it's like real, but it's not. And like I know that it's not real. I know that it's supposed to be funny. And like if I showed them like an article from The Onion, they'd probably think it was real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like okay, if they don't know that the Onion has been established for like X amount of years,
And it's
and
yeah.
and it's supposed to be satire, they're gonna just like see the headline and they're gonna be like, wait, what?
Right, because people don't actually read the stuff.
The stuff
And I mean,
anymore.
if you go to the Onion's website, it doesn't really establish that it's a satire site.
Yeah, because it's
So
so real looking.
it is. And
Yeah.
while we get it, I can see it being very confusing. And I feel like sites like that, there needs to be, personally, I think there should be like some kind of accreditation thing so people know, okay, this is a legit news source, right? Because so many news sources are popping up from, you can get news anywhere, literally anywhere, right? So there's no proper accreditation, which is how you used to do it, right? Your newspaper, if it wasn't like an established accredited newspaper, people didn't take it seriously. It was more like a editor to the letter to the editor, editor to the letter,
editor to the letter,
letter to the editor, right? Or you have you know, you have credentials for, like, even in the film industry, like, we get credentials saying, oh yeah, this person is a part of this. So, you know, it feels to me like we need some kind of, not a union, but we need some kind of accreditation. Like, you're not going to go to a doctor who doesn't have all the proper training, right?
Yeah.
Like,
license.
like, if they don't have a license to actually practice, like, why are you going to that doctor, right? So I feel like that we could definitely curb a lot of the fake news sites by creating something like that. But at the same time, I agree with you on the education thing, that we need to do a better job at educating people on how to look at it. And honestly, that should be something that's taught in school at this point. Because they need to learn how to look things up on the internet, like,
or to know that they need to analyze everything that they see still, and that just because something is on the internet doesn't mean that it's true, and that you have to, and that you have to also take into consideration, like, everybody's opinions are being tossed into this as well. So it's like, okay, it's not just like a credited source just because so and so said it, you know.
There's definitely some education there that I think, and I think it would go beyond just, oh, I'm going to teach you how to do the internet. No, it'll teach you how to actually read people and understand human nature. But there is nothing in school anymore for that. Like, you don't learn any of those kind of trade skills, because it is a skill to learn how to understand people.
Yeah.
It is. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are like, no. That's the whole point of, like, getting with people and like, and socializing with people in school, is to learn how to socialize, right?
Yeah.
Well, with social media, people don't know how to socialize anymore. So we need to make it a class.
Yeah. How to social?
Because people don't know how to socialize. My God.
Changing the world.
Yep. So, Rotten Robin has quite a few questions for you. So,
oh boy.
We're gonna just fire them off. All right. These are actually really good questions. Do you run your YouTube channel by yourself, or do you have friends or hire people to help? I think that's a good question.
Yeah, I mainly run it by myself. I do have a contractor, a freelance editor that I hire sometimes. Like, if the work becomes overwhelming, like, I'll just, get her to do a first cut of my videos. Not me. It is not her. But I've had her since before I met you, so let's be fair here.
I know.
But I haven't really used her that much recently. It just kind of like comes and goes. I do have a contractor that he does the captions for me, so I have captions on all of my videos. in English, and then I also have subtitles in Spanish as well, just to make my video more accessible to people.
That's really cool, actually. I need to hire another editor for myself, honestly. I do a lot of editing. I really need to hire somebody, but I don't make enough to hire somebody, so I'm screwed. I need a personal assistant. Like, I need someone who
I
can,
need
like,
a personal assistant.
I need someone to be like, hey, Ashley, you need to go and edit this today. Oh, you need to go actually film this today. You need to record that. You need to edit that podcast. Yeah, I do too much. Yay, life of a content creator. um, so yeah. I actually always wondered that. I didn't realize that you actually had people. That's cool that you do the subtitle thing.
Mm.
I'm trying to get to where I can record both my audio and the other person's audio, and we at least use web captioner for the live portion of the stream.
Mm.
Um, it's coming. It's slowly coming. I have so much stuff that I have to do, and I need to. That's still relatively new. Like, that technology right there for the web captioner is still relatively new. So there's a lot of stuff that's.
Mm.
But I think it's really awesome that you actually have somebody doing all of your subtitles, because the YouTube closed caption is not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Okay, Robin asks, is there anything about your job that you find easy to do that others might think is difficult?
That's a good question. Well, I guess just off the top of my head is being in front of the camera. A lot of people find that really difficult to do, but that was never something that I struggled with. But I guess because I grew up like being around cameras and stuff, it was just a part of like my family, like either having my picture taken or like my dad, he works in film, and so like we had a huge giant camcorder in the house.
Your dad's in the
Um,
film industry too?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, he's an actor. But
Nice.
he's also been a cameraman and editor and stuff like that, like in the early days of cinema.
Nice.
Yeah. Um,
How come I
so
didn't know that?
I don't,
I feel like that's something that should have come up in conversation in the amount of time that we. Huh.
maybe it has,
I don't know. Maybe I forgot. I don't know.
maybe it hasn't. I don't know.
Anyway,
Anyway, point
I
is,
feel like a bad friend now.
yeah, I guess that's probably like the one off the top of my head.
That
it's
is
not hard
hard.
for me,
Like,
but
being on camera for a lot of people is stressful.
yeah.
So, it definitely comes out naturally for you. Like, I like that I didn't actually really have to ask you a lot of questions. You just kind of like,
Hmm.
it's just a good conversation. Makes
Yeah.
my job a hell of a lot easier, actually.
Yeah.
Um, have you? So, have you been on a cruise yet?
Technically, I have been, but not like a cruise like what you think about. So I was on a cruise, or I was on a 3-day cruise in the river in
3 hours.
China, but it wasn't like it was like part of like a bigger tour that I did in China. But it's not
Ooh.
like a cruise, like, like a cruise ship, like Carnival. Like we weren't
You
like
should
drinking
totally do
margaritas,
a
but
cruise.
I know it's on
You
my
need to do
list.
a cruise.
It's on my list. I haven't done that yet.
Um, oh my God, are all of these questions from Robin? I think all of these questions are from Robin. Every single one of them are from Robin. Okay.
Red Robin.
Yum. Now I want a burger. So, what are your most helpful apps or software that you use for content creation? It's a very good question too.
Ooh, well, for editing, I use Final Cut. I have the Adobe suite as well, so I use Photoshop for like making my thumbnails and graphics and stuff like that. I also use Canva for on the fly stuff. So I try to do like intricate Instagram stories, and for that I'll use Canva because it's on my phone. And then I also have another app called Unfold, which I also use for my Insta stories. And then I have a plethora of apps that I use to edit my photos for Instagram. But my photos now are a lot more involved when it comes to editing because like I add a lot of like weird sci-fi graphic stuff. So I have like
She's
10 different apps for that. Yeah.
Her aliens. She's a nerd.
I'm an alien. I'm just waiting for my people to come get me.
You know, I was surprised you weren't wearing your black and white striped shirt, to be quite honest. I'm a little disappointed.
I'm sorry.
I mean, but you wore
But
the
I'm
NASA
wearing
shirt.
the NASA shirt.
So that's okay. I'll let it slide this one time.
Oh man.
Every time I saw you that week, it's that damn shirt. Every single time. I swear to God, you have like 30 shirts that look just the same.
I'm like, like Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah.
You open my closet and it's all the same shirt. It's my uniform.
It is. Okay, do you think turning a hobby into your job makes it less enjoyable? Ooh.
No, I don't. I think it makes it more enjoyable because I get paid.
I think it depends on the person. I can see people.
No, I can say here. Okay, so I would say that it depends on why you are. So if you're trying to make a living out of your hobby, or something that you're passionate about, I think it's really important to not establish your being successful as being equivalent to how much money you are earning. Because then you will get burnout and you will stop having fun doing that hobby. Yeah. So if you are, if you do like fly fishing and you're like, well, I'm going to go do like fly fishing and compete and like win prizes and stuff, and that's how I'm going to make a living, that can remain fun forever. So long as you don't think, well, if I don't win first place like every time, then I'm not succeeding.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a chore. Then it becomes really exhausting to keep up with that. So
because it turns into a grind. Because you are no longer enjoying we'll go with streaming because we're streaming right now. If you like to play games and you're like, I want to stream it, and stream it becomes a cool hobby, that's great. But when you start putting that monetary value on it and saying, I need to make more, that's when you're going to lose that enjoyment. Because you're going to focus on, I'm not making enough to make a living versus this was just a hobby to begin with.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you on that. Have you ever got any copyright strikes on your videos or had them demonetized? And how did you deal with it?
Yeah. All the time.
It's like... I paid for Monster Cat and I got demonetized on a video the other day. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Like, I get stuff, and sometimes, like, I still have some videos that are demonetized just because, like, either the music or whatever, like, and they were songs that were royalty free. Because, like, the last time that I used, like, a copywritten song on a YouTube video was maybe in, like, 2009. Like, after that, it was, like, there's so much access to royalty free stuff that it was just easier to just have original music in it. And even so, like, there's songs that like were royalty free when I made a video, but then stopped being royalty free, or like some record company bought the license for the song, so then now it's all like getting copyright strikes all across the board. And And it's like that stuff that I just like can't really control, because it just happens. And like I've had videos, like I had one video that got demonetized, not because of a copyright strike, but it just got demonetized. And there was like it was like, it was maybe like a year and a half ago when they went and like demonetized stuff without like really good reasons. And everyone was like, why are you demonetizing? Like, this is like, I don't know. It's like, this is a direct target hit at me and my who I am. And like I had a video that it's still demonetized. There was like one that was, I made a video with a friend where we popped balloons wearing oven mittens. And it was like a competition.
It got demonetized?
It got
What
demonetized.
Were you doing? Were you wearing like Nike gloves? Like, what the heck?
It was literally just oven
mitts. Nike oven mitts? Like, come on.
And like we just like, that was the whole video. It was just us like trying to see, like timing ourselves, like how quickly we could, like how many balloons we could pop in like X amount of seconds. And that was it. Like, and we just had like maybe 3-4 rounds. I don't know. Like it was just like a simple video. Like there was nothing.
That's weird.
And apparently, like, I don't know, YouTube has something against balloon popping, so
I'm telling you,
it's controversial.
I guess so. I have one final question for you, and then we'll wrap up the podcast because we're about to hit our 2-hour limit anyway. Yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours.
I'm sorry.
How much time and effort do you put into what your videos are going to be? Like, as far as the pre-production goes?
It depends on the video. So some of them, like, I'll lose sleep over because I just want it to be a very specific way. And I just, like, I can't think about it. Like this last video that I did, which was the $30,000 in debt one. That video, like,
watched yet. I'm very curious about that one.
I shot that like a long time ago, like a few weeks ago. And I had it just like sitting there, and I just like, I was like, this isn't right yet. Like it can't be out yet. Until finally, like last week, I was like, Romina, you need to just put it out there. And it depends. And then like today, like I filmed a video today, I edited it, and I'm going to upload it like once we're done. So like, so it depends on like the video. Like there's some where, like if I'm doing like top 5, top 10 lists of things to do, like in a specific country or place or whatever, that might take a lot longer to do. I have a Trello board. So I use Trello for like a lot of my stuff, like projects that I'm working on for video ideas and for anything, even for like my life goals, like personal stuff. And so I have a board on Trello that's just video ideas. And on the board, I have a list that's just for videos that I've filmed and that I need to edit and upload and stuff like that. And then I have a list for videos that are ready to go, and those have scripts for the most part, like or like if it's like a video, like, you know, popping balloons with oven mittens, like it's ready to go because, like, you know, I can do it, but I don't need a script for it. Yeah. And then I have like different categories for stuff. Like I'll have, you know, these are travel videos, these are like business finance videos, and then I have like lifestyle stuff. Like I'll have categories, and so I'll make cards and I'll like put you know, the videos that I have ideas, like the titles of the video ideas that I have, and then I'll write scripts for those if it's something that I think that it requires, like, you know, top 10 lists or things like that. And I'll use that when I'm filming the video. I'll have the script on my phone. I'll have Trello open, and I'll just go through my script and make sure that I hit all the points that I need to. But yeah, I mean, that really depends on the video, because sometimes, like, I'll think, you know, I'll work hard, you know, pre-production, and then other times, it's just, I just freaking do it. Like the school video, like I got my camera like from the repair shop, and then I came home and I was like, I need to make a video. I like haven't made a video in like 2 weeks because of my camera. And so it was like, I finally, like I got the needle, you know, and I was like, it needs to happen like now. and so, and so I just like, and I was still sick because I was sick for like a month. And so I was still like coughing up a lung. Like every time that I laughed, it was like, and so I made a video like that because I just needed to do it. And I did it from my bed with tissue box in hand, and you know,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, we use Freed Camp for Girl Streamers for all of our
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Trello or Freed Camp or anything like that is really, really, really useful.
Mm.
Very, very helpful. Well, that's it for me. So where can people find you?
I'm at RedRomina all over the internet.
Yep, I just linked all of her stuff on the thing. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It was a lovely discussion, my friend.
Yes, it was fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did.
All right, well, I'm gonna close this out now and be awkward.
Okay, bye.
All right. Guys, this has been a Girl Streamer podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Girl Streamers is partnered with Loot Crate, Simple Jerky, UN Racing Chairs, Glom Tom, Sennheiser, and Humble Bundle. Links to all these amazing partners are down below, so please feel free to click. Thank you guys for all of your support. Please follow us at Girl Streamers on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. And if you have any questions or would like more information, you can visit our website at girlstreamers.com and contact us through there. You can subscribe to us on Twitch. Don't forget, when you do, you get access to our Discord channel, so you can talk to people like me and other streamers. Not her, because she won't join the Discord. And buy some super cool gear in our online shop at designbyhumans.com/shop/girlstreamers. We do have a special shirt on the site right now, and it goes towards if you buy the For the Kids shirt, it will go towards St. Jude this month. It is a limited edition shirt. You can get it until June, I believe, end of June. You can find Romina on Twitter at RedRomina, that's RedRomina, and on YouTube at youtube.com/RedRomina, that's RedRomina. Our next podcast will be June 2nd with Pinky Pierce, right here, same time. This podcast is a part of the Two Lazy Dogs Media Group and the Girl Streamers community. Encourage, support, grow.